Hey everybody, welcome on back. Thanks for coming back. We're going to introduce you today to the Homestead Mama. She's going to show you guys the beginner's guide to seed starting. So go ahead, grab your coffee, soil, seeds, pots, whatever you need. She's going to show you how to do this quick, easy, and efficiently, and it's not hard. And that way you can start growing your own food. So come along and start some seeds with us. We got Little Man here. He's showing us some new merchandise we'll have at whitefamilyhomestead.com. We have metalwork, t-shirts, and all that kind of stuff on that website. So go check it out.
See you there.
We've been gardening for quite a while now. I'd say about 10 years. And the way I'm very budget friendly, frugal kind of person. And I like to grow a lot of things, so the cheapest way to do that is to grow your garden by seeds, because you get more for your buck. So plus then you can grow different varieties too that your local nurseries or stores may not have. So I'm going to let you know what you need and the steps to get your seeds in the dirt. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's get started. Once you've gathered all your supplies, the first thing you're going to do is, unless these are brand new, is wash your little pots here, because from the years past, because you can have bacteria, fungus, all kinds of things in here, and it's just going to ruin the plants that you start growing. So you want to make sure and wash these either at the end of the season or before you use them the next season. I always say I'm going to wash them at the end of the garden season, and I end up not doing it. So I went ahead and washed these now, and they're all ready to go for dirt. So you may be asking, well, how do I know how to plant these seeds and what to do for them and all that? So your seed packet here on the back, they provide all that information for you. There is seed depth, so how deep you plant the seed. There's spacing for seeds that you direct sow, because some seeds you don't pre-start. Some seeds it's called direct sowing, where you put them right into the ground. So they put spacing so you know how far to put that in the ground. There's temperatures for germinating, so that's how warm it needs to be. These need to be for them to germinate. There's days for germination. That way you know if it's going to germinate or not. Some things only take like 5 days or so, and some things take a lot longer, like 7 to 10. So it says right there. And then how far apart to thin your plants once they are grown, how much space they need. And then there's also tips on here, and on some things there's certain zones where you do differently than other zones. So just read the back of your packet. It will have all the information you need to start your seeds successfully. So we are planting some basil today. It takes a while for it to grow, so that's why we're starting it so early here. So it is a 1/4 inch seed depth that this needs to go down. And as you can see here, these trays come in all different kinds of sizes, and these are called cells. This one's a 4 cell, and you want to plant your seed in the middle. So I usually use my little plastic label here. It has a little point, and I just make a little hole in the middle, like so. It's a 1/4 inch. I just eyeball it. I believe when I was first starting this, I was measuring and making sure it was all exact. And then I just open this up, and I pour some of these seeds into my hand here. It's cool to see all the different seeds and what they look like, what food starts out like, because you'd be surprised. These are little black specks, quite small. And then what I normally do is I do 2 to 3 per cell, and then you just thin it out when it gets big enough. But we'll go over that when you would do that when it comes time. I can show you guys. We'll do another video on that, or a short. So I just pinch them between my fingers, pop them in the hole, like so. I don't know about you guys, but I love basil. I love pesto. I love cooking. So many good things that you can make with it. I grew lots last year and made pesto and preserved it. So we have some over winter. So after that, I just take this, or you can just take your finger and cover it up. There you go. And then, so when you are starting seeds, the only thing that seeds need, most of them, there are a couple exceptions, is they need dirt, the seed, and water. They don't need light yet, and warmth. So we are going to provide them water. You need to make sure and water them, but you don't want to overfill this and drown it. So what I actually did is I took a water bottle we had, I took the lid off, and I went into Mr. Homestead's garage and I found a nail, and I just pounded some holes in the lid of it, and then it comes out nice and slow and gentle. That way you're not moving the seed around too much, displacing it, because if you overflow it, it could just come out and then you're watering an empty, just the dirt here. So there we go. Make sure it's nice and wet, because you want to make sure that that water gets down there and covers that seed. And then once you are all done with your tray, then you will cover it with plastic wrap and then put it inside. All right. One very important thing to do before you move on to any more, after you've planted those seeds, is to label them. I have done it in the past where I keep going. I'm just like in the zone of planting, and then I don't know what I've planted, and then it's just a big guessing game. Especially if you're planting the same thing, like tomatoes but different varieties, you won't know what variety is what. So until you have a tomato, which is a long time, especially like if you're giving these away, or you know, they're just in your garden. You want to make sure and label them because you want to know what you're growing. So we're going to share all the steps to gardening, and now that we're done with planting the seeds, once they sprout, there is certain, they're going to need light. That's when they need light. So we'll go over how to light them and the rules, because they need to be a certain distance from the light, and the reasoning behind all that. And then they get too big for these little trays, so you have to transplant them, pot them up. And so I will show you guys how we do that, and the care that needs to be done when you transplant or pot them. And then once they get big enough, they'll probably come out here to the greenhouse, because they'll take up too much space in the house. So you probably saw, if you didn't, the previous video we have is we got a heater for the greenhouse, because our greenhouse isn't insulated or anything like that. So we need it to be at least about 60 degrees in here, so that we don't kill all these plants that we're growing. So we will share that, and then also once we get them going in the garden. But if you guys have any suggestions on what you want to see, you can let us know in the comments. We would be glad to, you know, share any process of this that maybe we aren't realizing. You know, when you get into the groove of something, sometimes you forget all the steps because it's just like a natural thing for you. So if I'm missing anything, or if there's something specific you want to see, let us know, and I can show you any part of this process of growing your food that you may want to see. We've got some rosemary here. I am just started to grow herbs the last couple years, and they do great here, and they have overwintered very well. So that's good. And so then last year was the first year that I started preserving them. So I dried a bunch of herbs, and we've been using them. I've been using it in the kitchen, and it's amazing. It's so fresh, and there's something about growing your own food that is just so rewarding and amazing and fills your heart so well. And the other thing, once we get to it, transplanting and stuff, I'll show you how to transplant into the garden. But if you aren't able to grow from seed, that is totally fine too. If you just want to grow food and support your local growers market, your farmers, that's another way that you can, maybe you don't have the space or the time to start seeds. There's not one way to grow food. So don't feel discouraged if you don't have the time or space to start seeds. You can also buy starts. That's why I'm growing a lot of these. I'm going to go sell them at our local vintage fair, spring fair. So I'm going to be selling them to people that aren't doing this, So it's okay. So I hope that is helpful for you guys on how to start seeds if that's something that you are looking into. And I also want to just encourage you. That is what we are all about. We're here on YouTube. We're trying to get restarted going and showing people what we do. But we've been doing a lot on Instagram. So if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see our day-to-day lives and all the stuff that we do. So the first step is just getting started, and that's what we want to encourage people. You don't have to have a degree in any of this or know it all. I was not a gardener until we bought our homestead, and I wanted to grow food. And so I started talking to people that I knew garden, and I started asking questions. And that was before Instagram and all the things, social media. And so I just had a couple friends that garden, and I would go over and check out their gardens, and they would tell me things and stuff like that. And they gifted me gardening supplies for Christmas. And so it just started out little by little. And you just end up learning a little bit here, and it just grows exponentially. So you may not have a greenhouse like this. I didn't have one like this when I started. I started planting, and I just did it on our kitchen table. And we had, I think we picked up some free fluorescent lightings, and we put the right tubes in them for the grow light part of it. And we jimmy rigged it all and stuff. And I would just move things. You just work with what you have, and each year you build onto it. And also between YouTube and Instagram and all the things, there are a lot of people out there that want to help. That is what I love so much about the homesteading community, is that everyone is willing to help out each other, and no one is, it's not this big competition thing. We're here as a community to help out one another. So if you have questions, you can go on there. If you're trying to learn something, everyone knows a little bit of this, a little bit of that, so just go follow people on here, or Instagram, TikTok, like all the different social media accounts, and start learning from people. That's how we've been doing it, and that's how I learned, because there's a lot of things I don't know. And it also goes by zones too, I grow differently than someone does up north and stuff like that. So yeah, we just want to encourage people to get started. If you have any questions, just drop them down in the comments, and I will get back to you guys. Or if you have any input, we'd love to hear any feedback also. I hope this is something that you guys will enjoy, our content, learning how to homestead and grow your food and DIY projects. So, yeah. So now that you have your seeds planted and labeled, don't forget that, I bring them inside and I cover them with plastic wrap. Now, you've probably seen the greenhouse trays that have the plastic lids over them. And that is totally fine. It does the same thing. The reason I started doing this is because I have so many trays, and it just was more cost effective for me to do this, because we get our plastic wrap at Costco, so I have plenty of plastic wrap. So I just cover it like this, and then that's just going to keep that moisture in, because right now these seeds do not need light. They just need warmth and moisture, water. And speaking of warmth, so most seeds need about 70 degrees to start germinating. And there are ways to get them warm and then they germinate faster. And a way to do that is by using a heat mat. And these just go underneath the tray. They plug in. I'll show you one down here that I have unplugged. The length of the tray. You plug it in, you set your heat mat on this, or you set your tray on this, and then it warms up the soil and everything so that your seeds will germinate easier and quicker. Do you need this right away? No. I only have started using this last year, actually. I got one because I'm very frugal. So we got these off of Amazon. I think this one was about 24, 25 bucks for two, actually, which is a really good deal. They have different ones that have the control on it, so you can control the temperature. And I have one of those, but they are a little more spendy. So this year, because I needed a lot more, I just have one without it. And so it warms it, it says, between 70 and 85 degrees. So there's no controller. You don't know how warm it is, but it's in the range that you need it to be. So if you want these, we will link them for you down, the heat mats. So for now, these just need warmth and make sure they are nice and wet. But then once they germinate, you'll have little sprouts. These are our tomatoes that we have. Then they do need light, okay? And they need to be about 2 inches away from the light here. The reasoning for that is because you probably know plants love light. They need the light. And so they start reaching for that light. And you will see them. It's incredible. They will start leaning to wherever the brighter light is. And you don't want that, because then they get what is called leggy. And they become weak because they just keep growing and growing. But they're growing taller than they need to be, and they will flop over. They're not very strong. So having them about 2 inches when they are small, and so we luckily have a lot of scrap wood around. I just stack these up and have them the right height, and then they become nice and strong. We also have some fans in here to provide a nice little breeze. That helps with the humidity in here, and it helps give them like what would be a natural breeze outside. You can even touch them like this. A lot of people you'll see. That just makes them stronger. They need to be nice and strong, because once they're outside in nature, there's going to be wind and all that. So you are making a fake wind with your fan. So that's another thing we have set up here. We got all of this except for our stand here on Amazon. We got these at Costco. They were a great deal. And we have another one because we didn't know how many we would need. Because I tend to go crazy when I start seeds. Plus, we are going to sell them this year. So, yeah. We got the seed mats. We got the lights off Amazon. We will link those for you too. They're super easy. They connect with each other. So, and they each have a little switch for on and off, so you can connect them and get I think this was a 6-pack of them. And then they connect. You can have how many you want. There's one controller to plug in. And we actually have ours set up on a timer, a smart plug. So these come on at a certain time. We have them on from 7 until 9, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And that way we don't even have to think about having them on. They don't need light all the time. So yeah, I think that is about it for this. I don't think if I'm forgetting anything, just let me know down in the comments. Like I said, sometimes I forget to tell people everything. But yeah, thanks.
Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Just if you have any comments, questions, concerns, leave them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. It really helps. Please. Otherwise, if you were interested, we have a website, whitefamilyhomesteader.com. Not homesteader, whitefamilyhomestead.com. Please go check it out. We got t-shirts, we got metalwork, we do all kinds of stuff. Lots of cool stuff on there too. Also find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I mean, we're everywhere. Come check us out. And y'all gotta go home now.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell
Hit the bell!
so you get notifications about our all new videos.